Thank you all for coming. Some of you, I know, were here last night. I was here late last night also, and I was in Staten Island at 6 o'clock in the morning, but I'm here now. Everybody, please welcome Rebecca Voigt. She's going to come up here. You're not liking me too much right now. I'm here to get up early, so I'm sorry. Please welcome Becca. Enjoy. There's coffee in there. If anybody wants to grab coffee or anything like that, okay? You can do it. Thank you, right?
Good morning. Morning. There's a lot of donuts out there.
Yeah, my favorite.
I plan on eating all of them afterwards. It's like a PR. If you don't know who I am, I'm Becca Voigt. I work out of Los Angeles at Valley CrossFit. And hopefully you know who I am. You're here for the right reason. I'd like to kind of lead a few hours kind of in a conversation setting, rather than a lecture. Okay, I'm not here to lecture. I don't know about you. I don't learn in a lecture setting. Okay, I kind of turn it off and just like, holy shit, it's 2 hours. I do cuss a lot. Okay, so if you're offended, I apologize. I'm not going to change for you. I'll be sensitive if you're like, this is just too much. I might just sprinkle them in here and there for like statement purpose. I started CrossFit in August of 2006. So back then it was extremely different. When I started, my best friend, who was just starting CrossFit herself, had her gym creating a new program within their personal training center. And she's like, we're doing this charity event called Fight Gone Bad. You should come play. I was like, okay, I have no idea what it is. She's like, here's 5 movements, practice them for the next month, and then just come and hang out. I was like, sure, no big deal. So what did I do? I went to the Globo gym and I practiced the push press, and I was like, all right, I'm tired. And then I would go and do the wall ball, or what I thought was wall ball. Turns out it was completely different. And then I'd rest, and it was something that I was just like, what's the big deal? I'm gonna go up and do these movements, cool. So I figured them out, and I was just like, this is gonna be fun, no big deal. I didn't really know what to expect. At that point, I was still kind of naive to everything, and I was like, I'm not gonna look up CrossFit. Why would you do that? My friend told me there's 5 movements. What's the big deal? And so I went up to the Bay Area, that's where she was at, and I walked into this gym, and I was just like, what is this place? This is like nothing I've ever seen. And I was just kind of blown away. And then we went really early to sign up for this event because she's a planner and she does all that stuff. And so I really still didn't get that full effect of what CrossFit was. And people started coming in and they were super friendly. Like, these people have no idea who I am. And they are really nice. Come to find out, that happens everywhere. You know? And the event kicks off. And I watch a few events, or heats, excuse me, and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. They're just cheering for everybody. I'm like, well, my turn's coming up. You know, these people don't know who I am, and I'm just gonna do my best. And so I did. I did very well. I was extremely happy. I was laying on the ground, feeling like death, and there was a million people around me cheering for me. And that's the moment I fell in love. Okay? It had nothing to do with the movements, it had everything to do with the community. And it was like, I want more of this. I played basketball in college, and that's what it reminded me of. This team, this family, no matter how stupid and retarded you could get, your family always loves you. It's one of those things that it's true. CrossFit families just love you. We walked into these doors at 10:30 at night on Thursday, and it was like I was walking and seeing relatives that I haven't seen in a long time. I've never met many of you, but you welcomed me into your family, and I appreciate it. It's an amazing feeling. I know you guys feel that too. So now, 6.5 years later, here I am. My life is completely different than it has ever been, or what I ever dreamed it to be. I'm a professional athlete. Don't really know what that means still. But holy moly, I used to work at Bank of America, sitting at a desk for 8 hours, and here I am. I get to work out all day. Now it sounds glamorous. It's not. You lose a lot of hours in working out. But it's just one of those things that it's like life-changing. I met my fiance at CrossFit. He proposed to me in a CrossFit class. He did. I was coaching. I'm coaching the easiest movements. Push-ups and rope climbs. Get up the rope, push yourself off the ground. And he's like, I have a question. How can you possibly have a question? You've been doing CrossFit for many years. And that's when he popped the question. So it's many different roads that I never thought I was going to be on. It's been very cool. So thank you for having me here. We're going to talk a little bit excuse me, I'm fighting a little bit of a cold, so I apologize. You are here to talk about competition. And competition is interesting. I walk into a Trader Joe's, I look at the clock, and I say, I'm going to be out of here in 30 minutes. Yeah. 3, 2, 1, go. Don't lie. I know somebody do that. Okay? It's just the daily competitions that we make life fun. At least I think competition's fun. I started sports when I was 4 years old and soccer. And I don't know if I fell in love with it. I don't know if I knew what I was doing. But ever since, I've played some sort of sport. Okay? And when I finished college and I finished playing basketball, I thought there was nothing gonna be left. And then I found CrossFit, and I found out you can compete in CrossFit. In the beginning, in 2008, competition was literally first 100 females to sign up get to go to the games. I get to go to the games! Very different now, right? In 2009, for Southern California, they took six females. It was the SoCal Six. That's what we called ourselves. It was amazing to have 6 other people, well, 5 other people, and then it turned out there was a last-minute qualifier. So then it turned out to be 6 to go to the games with. So you just had to be in the top 6. That was great. Luckily, I pick up athletic things easily. The education part, not so much. Take a long time. But you just had to be in the top 6. And then the next 2 years, it was the next 4 females. Competition started to get a little bit more serious. And this year, of all years, there's 3 spots. Okay? Kristen Clever, who is one of my best friends and my training partners, she's won the games, but she doesn't get an automatic spot. So now, well, unlike last year, where top 3 women got to go, you were a champion, your spot didn't count, and they took the next 3, right? So that was great. This year, Dave Castro likes to be an asshole. Quote me, put it on Twitter, I don't care. Okay, I care a little bit. Besides, there's going to be only 3 spots. Now, in Southern California, there is approximately 10 females that are in the top 40 of the world. Okay? These are females that legitimately can go to the games and place very well. I'm treating the games or the regionals as my games this year. I have to. Getting to the games is going to be a celebration. It's going to be very different for me. I feel like if I make it to the games, then I've made it. Okay? And so it's an interesting thought process that I had to go through for the last 6 months. And that's kind of where we'll go with talking about competition. We'll talk about the mental part because it's, I think, more important than actually training. Okay? The feeling that I've gotten when I first started my the first games, my nervousness, it's never changed. I get nervous every single day. Matter of fact, I woke up this morning to a text message from my coach, it's Ben Bergeron from CrossFit New England, and I looked at my workout and I was just, seriously? I'm gonna do that? And probably in front of people? Awesome. So I treat every day as a competition, and my mindset is like that. Okay? And we're going to talk about daily competition because I really do feel that if you can get yourself set right in practice, the actual time that you're going to compete is fun. Don't worry, it's nerve-wracking. Butterflies are trying to get out of my stomach, just escape somehow. But I've prepared for that, and I know how to react, and I think that will benefit you as well. And so we're going to kind of run through kind of what I do on a daily basis, and then we'll kind of see if there's any questions. Okay? Is there any questions thus far about my past? No, ask some questions pertaining to CrossFit. No? Remember, I want this to be a conversation. I don't want you guys to just be like, I have all these questions, but I don't want to be that person. Be that person. I honestly ask as many questions. No, not from Dan Tinsky. You don't get to ask any questions. You really have a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what kind of sports did you play growing up? All sports.
All sports. I started soccer when I was 4. I did gymnastics from I think 6 to 9, and then I grew too tall, got really awkward and inflexible. Oh, it's like now. And then I went straight into basketball. So then when I went to basketball, it was kind of done. It was something that I fell in love with basketball. I wasn't very good at it. I really wasn't. I was one of the jack of all trades, master of none. Couldn't shoot really well. I could defend. Really good at defending. Shooting was always not my forte. That free throw, traded free throw. It's supposed to be 3 points. Not so much. Any other questions? All right. So every day, like I said, I step into the gym. I'm nervous about what's to come. And I know that I cannot focus on the workout until I've done my maintenance. I walk into the gym and I start the clock, and I have about 30 minutes to just work on mobility, stretching, get my bones and muscles moving. I lay on the lacrosse ball for about 15 minutes at that time. Okay? It's in my shoulders, it's in my armpits, it's in my rear backside. I'm doing so bad. It's everywhere. I have to make sure that I'm rolling my feet. I have a lot of problems with my ankles and my calves. Calves are extremely tight. So I have to make sure that I'm voodoo band flossing. And I'm doing all those things that are going to let me have a little bit more room to move. And that's extremely important. And I'm not going to out anybody, but someone last night was like, oh yeah, before class, I'm talking for 30 minutes in the corner over there. We should be stretching like my husband, but I like to talk. I was like, that's perfectly fine, but there's a trend in gyms that don't stretch. Most people have injury, right? So I know if I walk into the gym and I'm like, wow, my ankles are extremely stiff. And I kind of think about what I've been doing. Training's been hard. I'm doing a lot of jumping and box jumps. And then I realized I haven't done a full session of mobility on just my feet and calves in a long time. And I literally slap myself, and it's like, okay, gotta get more serious. You know, I'm not the strongest athlete out there. And so if my front squats get a little toesy, meaning I'm on my toes, it goes back to my ankles, and that my ankles weren't flexible enough, open enough to be able to do that front squat, okay? So there's a direct translation to mobility and you're moving, especially in strength. And so every single day, and I kid you not, it is every single day, I'm doing mobility. And if you've never done a mobility seminar from Kelly Starrett, hopefully he has an option to come out here. I highly recommend it. The dude is hilarious, and then he sprinkles in some mobility. I do that for about 30 minutes, and then if there's any areas that I really feel are problems, I'm like, oh, today my lower back is really tight. That's my first priority. I ditch my ankles, I ditch my calves, and I'm spending as much time as I can loosening up my posterior chain, really trying to get in those hamstrings, trying to figure out what's going to be the best stretch for me that day. Now, I don't forget about my calves, some days I do, but I may have an abbreviated mobility session with that area. You know, there's times where I'll be coaching class, and I'll literally lay on a kettlebell in the middle. I did this the other day. It's like my hips are so tight, and not everyone's doing their strength, and so I just laid in the middle of the room with a kettlebell and just screamed at them, "Get lower!" It's really awkward when you look like a supermodel. But you have to make sure that you're aware of these areas. Don't let them go, because as soon as they start to become a chronic problem, you've waited way too long. There's a lot of things you guys can do. Just go online. Kelly Starrett has, I think he even has an app now. Katie, does he have an app?
Kelly?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I'll find out what that is, but you can go on there and have a daily mobility. Random. Yeah.
So my problem is that like I'm almost really limbo side. So no one part of my body ever feels tight. Like I can completely not stretch and go work out, I'm fine. So I really don't ever know what to do for mobility because I feel like I get nothing out of it.
Right, and you probably don't get much out of it. So what you and that's common for a lot of people. And so you would need to actually train your limitations. So your mobility might be squatting to a ball that's a little bit higher than you're normally going to squat to. Or your squat goes down so low. Yeah, exactly. So you might get on the ball and literally practice squatting to that depth. So your mobility might not be true mobility where you're trying to get your body loose, but you're actually trying to tighten it up and learn a new movement.
Okay.
So you kind of have to think of it that way. All right, so after my mobility.
This is going to sound like an excuse to you, but it's really not. The time of the day, I bet for a lot of us really hinders our ability to stretch for 30 minutes before we come to a class. It's a matter of.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
I know Josh very well. His sister works out at my gym at Valley, and she's one of my clients. So when Josh comes to visit her, he comes to visit me for a few hours too.
Is it fine to, at 9, 10 o'clock at night, on cross walls, no matter the kind of day?
Yeah, absolutely.
When I come here, it's just a tough time to do it.
Yeah, it's really hard. It is hard. And you know, getting on the lacrosse ball after your workout is just as important. But there's things that you can do in the day. If you're sitting at a desk all day, grab your lacrosse ball and sit on it. You know? If you have bad posture, put a lacrosse ball right back there and don't let yourself slouch. You can do that kind of mobility while you're sitting at a desk at the airport, or when we're at Katie does this too. We have a baseball, softball, and lacrosse ball with us at all times. So literally at the airport, I bring out this neon yellow softball, and I put it in my back, and I'm literally trying to roll some things out. Sitting for 6 hours, I hate that flight, mind you. Is uncomfortable. So it's the same at the desk, you know, when you're working. It is hard to get mobility, and especially when you're like, I have an hour and 15 minutes to come in, get my workout, and I have to go, right? So you can do things like that. Get a lacrosse ball, put it on the bottom of your, or in the bottom of the floor at your desk, and you're just rolling your feet up the whole time. You gotta get creative with this stuff. All right, sitting really tortures you. And so if you can get up every 30 minutes, set a reminder, walk around or stand at your desk. I used to stand at my desk with my keyboard right here and my screen flipped all the way up so that I could stand and type. People thought I was crazy. When the bosses were away, I'd be doing handstands in the hallway. It's not a joke. A lot of barbells. The older ladies, because I was an admin, the older ladies were like, do a handstand. I was like, okay. It's fun and exciting, but try to incorporate that when you're driving. You know, I don't know how the traffic is here, but in Los Angeles, you got plenty of time to do something. Get that lacrosse ball or, don't voodoo band, because that would be awkward. You guys know what voodoo bands are? They're like flat strips, and you literally kind of tourniquet yourself a little bit, pass your body through a range of motion and restricts the blood flow. And then once you take it off, it kind of, the blood rushes back through. It's new blood. It feels really good. It's very sick and twisted. If you want to stick around, we'll get that area. Don't blame me, it hurts. But all that stuff is really important. And that's not your warm-up. Okay? That's not the warm-up. That's the precursor. So then I get into my warm-up. I have a general warm-up. Okay, it takes a while for me to get moving, right? So I have my general warm-up. I'm literally, every day I row. I do hip extensions, GHDs, kettlebell swings, strict handstand push-ups, and strict pull-ups. Okay, that's kind of my general. I do overhead squats, PVCs, I'm doing pass-throughs, just getting myself ready to succeed. Really, that's what it is. You're getting yourself ready to succeed. And then after my general warm-up, I'm actually doing more warm-ups for the day. So I have muscle-ups to do. I'm going to get up on the rings and do some tap swings. Not doing the actual muscle, just getting myself moving. Trying to find that flow. Okay, chest-to-bar pull-ups. If you try to jump up and do chest-to-bar pull-ups, you might be successful. You might drop off and be like, I'm never going to do chest-to-bar pull-ups again. At least that's what I do. Okay, so I have to do some butterfly pull-ups. I really need to kind of grease the groove. We need to get everything moving. And that's really, really important. I need to make sure that I'm sweaty before I work out. All right? If I'm not sweaty, my workouts usually take a lot longer to warm up. And I'm competing against Kristen Clever almost every freaking day. I lose 99% of the time. She is one of those people who might do some mobility, but then is ready to work out. She's an amazing, amazing athlete. I used to mirror my warm-ups to hers. And then I realized I'm like 500 feet taller than her. And we're completely different athletes. She's extremely flexible. I'm not. So I need to kind of give myself time to beat her. Okay? And I do beat her sometimes. But yeah, I really need to be sweating. All right? If I don't get into a workout sweaty, I warm up about third round. And by the time I call time, I'm ready to go. It sounds silly, but you guys get that feeling where you're like, oh, that first round was horrible, but the second round was great. That's why you didn't warm up good enough. Okay? The shorter the workout, the longer the warm up. Okay, I'm going to say that again because I think it's important. The shorter the workout, the longer the warm-up. Fran, hate the bitch. Fran takes me around 2 to 3 minutes, depending on the weight. Okay? 2 to 3 minutes. That's kind of long compared to some of the other athletes. My warm-up, and I'm talking warm-up, I might do my general warm-up twice. It's going to take me 45 minutes. Am I procrastinating? Hell yes, I am. I'm like, I have to do Fran. I need to go over here. Can't stand watching. Becca, are you going to do Fran? Yeah, I'm warming up. My boyfriend will be like, seriously? You haven't done Fran yet? It's noon. You've been here since 8. You have to warm up. I've done Fran so much in the last 4 months. Fran doesn't scare me anymore. I see it and I'm like, yep, of course I'm doing Fran. My coach hates me. Warm-ups are the success to your workouts. Any questions? Yeah.
In my gym, pretty much do that as like part of building up to the general lot. But you guys do that too, I assume.
Yeah.
So you really don't have to push additional stuff if you know you're getting your warm up through the class.
You already know the answer to this.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. So my athletes don't know what they get to do. We're kind of jumping ahead, but that's okay. My athletes don't know what they're going to do. You guys post your WOD the night before, or most people do. Valley CrossFit does not. Okay? We have a different school of thought. All right? So yes, my athletes get a general warm up every day, unless we're not doing strength. So if we're doing strength in my class, they come in 10 to 15 minutes before class, they look at the board, I'm usually coaching another class, and they know what they need to do for that day to get warm. However, at the bottom, I say shoulder and hip mobility. So we're doing some front squats. Shoulder and hip mobility, okay? That's their job to figure out if their hips are extremely tight, then guess what? They need to spend a little bit more time. Your coaches are warming up the general population. They're not warming you up specifically. So you have to pay attention to those areas that might need more attention, right? So yes, you're getting warm and that's great. So maybe your general warm up isn't gonna be that extensive, but maybe your mobility is gonna be a little more extensive. So you do a lacrosse ball, then maybe go run and then come back, which there's a little bit more heat in your body, and then get back on the lacrosse ball or start doing some active movement. So that makes sense?
Yes.
Good. Yes.
So mobility is kind of specific to the individual, kind of have to know yourself. When you talk to other professionals, compare notes, do you find that there's a common theme that you all do something specific regardless?
In mobility, yeah, I think we all pay attention to our hips and we all pay attention to our shoulders. How we tackle that is usually really different. Katie works with Kelly Starrett very often. She lives in the area that he does, and so he's always coming up with some freaky stuff. Like seriously, I'm supposed to get myself in that position. But I think focusing on areas is very common. Chest and shoulders, hips. But there's not one stretch that everybody's doing. I think it's very different. So, does that make sense?
Yeah, it seems like stretches like kind of, at least in our box, kind of come and go, and there's like almost a style, and doing this one for a little while, and then all of a sudden the focus switches to this other stretch that's like in.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's very common. The couch stretch is really big at our gym for about 2 months. And then people are like, this is painful, why are we doing this? And then it went away. And guess who puts it in? I put it in, and then they moan and groan because they have to do the couch stretch. But yeah, it does. There is trends. I don't think it's as trendy for some of the higher level athletes than it is for more CrossFit gyms. But I think that's because it's trial and error. You got to figure out what works for you. The couch stretch, I hate. I will do it from time to time, but I will do a banded couch stretch rather than the full on the wall couch stretch. That makes sense? So it's really find out what works for you. Play around with it, talk to people like, oh, that's an interesting stretch. What is that for? And then just find out what works best for you. Because it's not all going to work for you. And sometimes it's a little too painful to even do. So don't do it. If it's painful, your body's telling you to stop. Okay? So there's a little degree of kind of self-censoring, if you will. Yeah.
Wait, if I ask you what the couch stretch is?
The couch stretch, it originated from a couch, so if you will, I'm going to steal your chair or your footrest. Okay? It originated from literally on a couch. You're putting your leg up on the back of the couch, and you're putting your knee down on the mattress. Okay? It's now evolved a little bit to make it more torturous. You will now put it against the wall, you lower yourself down, and now you're here. I highly recommend you have something in front of you, because if you've never done this, it's god awful. It is awful. When I first started, I was literally like, okay, all right, and then be like, okay, I'm good. I'm not exaggerating. I'm sure there's videos. My coach was like, when I switched coaches last year, we'll talk about that in a bit. But he's like, how's your mobility? And I was like, it's good. He's like, what's your back squat? I was like, 225. He's like, that's not good. And I was like, okay. He's like, let's look at your hands. I'm gonna strip really quick. Hold on. Yeah, mobility's been huge for me. This last year, I really paid a lot more attention to it, and guess what? The squatting numbers have gone really good. I added approximately 65 pounds to all my back squats. It's been amazing. Amazing. I used to like the overhead squat the best because it was my best lift. Now all the numbers are very, very close, and I don't know which one's my favorite. I think it's still the overhead squat. Most of you are like, Josh hates the overhead squat. He's gonna flip the opposite here. All right, so now as I've become a more mature athlete, I've definitely learned that warm-ups are important, but more importantly, mental warm-ups are critical. The mental warm-up is critical. So, like I was telling you at Valley CrossFit, we don't tell them what the workout is. We refuse. And this is why. You guys would look up, you guys go online the night before, get ready to go to bed, try to decide your day the next day, and you're like, Harry. Oh, we're doing Harry tomorrow. So immediately you go, hell yes, I'm going. And I'll go. Fuck, no, I'm not going. I'm taking an active rest day. Right? We don't give our athletes that choice. You come in, if you want to train, you come in, you train. Let's train. Okay? That cherry picking part is taken out. Okay? Don't worry, those people, my athletes, still have that oh fuck moment. I put Fran on the board, which is coming next Friday. Don't tell them. They're gonna put Fran on the board, and most of them are just gonna be like, where's the nearest can I get out the door before she sees me? And no, the answer's no, they never leave. So, you guys have the option to make those choices. I don't. I do, but I don't. I pay coach to write my programming, right? And they are there, and you guys pay your coach to do your programming too, right? My coach is literally, his job is to pick out my problems and focus on them. Chest to bar pull-ups for the last 7 years. Chest to bar pull-ups. Damn those chest to bar pull-ups. Guess what I've been doing for the last 6 months? Fucking chest to bar pull-ups. And holy shit, in the open workout, guess what? Chest to bar pull-ups. And you know what? It was freaking awesome. I loved it. I was so ecstatic that I had practiced chest to bar pull-ups so much that when I did that workout, I shocked the shit out of myself. I finished that first 4 minutes with time to spare. I literally walked over to the thruster bar and I was like, oh my gosh, it works. He was right, he doesn't hate me. Most days I think he's trying to kill me. And he might be. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. You guys think your coaches are trying to kill you? They are. But they're also trying to make you better. And that's what we're trying to get for. So we looked at this workout and we're like, all right, I guess I'm going to go to class. I'm going to go. And then you dread it all day. Okay? That's not really getting you mentally prepared at all. Really, it's not that bad. We look at this workout and yeah, say the thrusters are like, for you guys, it's 185. Okay, would that change that workout for you? And that row, you have to put it on the 10th damper 10. And now all these things have to be unbroken. Does that make it worse? Yeah, kind of. So it gives you a different mindset, but not really. Most people look at this workout and it's AMRAP in 15 minutes. And you're like, 15 minutes of this shit? Are you kidding me? No, you know what I look at? I look at it and I'm like, 400-meter run, 15, 15, 15. At least not 21. 500-meter run, okay. And then I'm like, all right, that's my workout. One round at a time. I never look at a workout and think of the whole. I don't. If I got 10 rounds of that, I don't think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do 150 thrusters? Or what if I have to do 150 thrusters? That's not my mindset. It's not how I look at things. It's simple. Keep it simple. Look at the rounds. I do analyze how many rounds I think I should get. But actually, I think of how many rounds Kristen Clever should get and how close I should be around it. Now, if it's this workout, you better believe I should beat her.